everybody! Welcome back!
Hey.
Welcome back! Hey, it's Jess and Erik. We are here for the final episode of Anime Book Club for the season. This would be the spring 2021 season. If you haven't been watching the shows we're following, feel free to mute us through that segment for no spoilers, but you're like behind because a lot of these finished like a week or two ago. We'll get to the pièce de résistance of all of spring 2021 at the end of this segment. It is by far the best anime I've seen in a while. And certainly the best one this year. And if anybody tells you something different, like that they're like, oh no, To Your Eternity was the best, or Vivi was the best, or they're full of it.
Yeah, they
they're
haven't seen
absolutely full of it. And they're wrong.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, if they tell you anything different, they haven't seen Odd Taxi. But we've been missing for 2 weeks. We've been missing for 2 weeks, so we're back. So a lot of the reviews we're doing are kind of like end of the show review, like 3 episodes at once. Yeah. So it's like this is a little different than our normal like episode by episode breakdown.
It is. But everything we're reviewing today is pretty much the end of the series, with like maybe 2 exceptions that are continuing into next season. And some stuff will be differently formatted. So like Slime is coming back, but it's the next full season of Slime, not Slime Diaries.
The new season of Slime actually already started.
Yeah. So let's get started with DYNAZENON. I'm really glad the show is over because I found it super duper boring.
So DYNAZENON wasn't bad. I don't think DYNAZENON was bad. I think that it's just not what I wanted. Right? I kind of wanted like the characters to have more of their backstories fleshed out, and I wanted their backstories to have more relevance to like the entire overarching plot. But it really did feel like a lot of times the backstories was just like, no, this is just character A's not motivation, not really burden, just thing that we're going to kill time with for this episode. And it's like do something. Like I don't if these things aren't going to be relevant to the main plot, then like I don't care. And then like don't keep presenting it to me as if I'm supposed to care. But I don't think DYNAZENON was bad. It's just not Gridman.
I don't know that I think it was bad. But okay, so let's give a little preface here. In the last series of episodes, Shimizu turns into a kaiju himself. He winds up absorbing the other Genesis, and they have a big fight. And Galma, sacrifices himself and all of this. And Yomogi winds up using the instance domination thing for them to win, because he can do the instance domination thing. And then at the end, everybody goes about on their lives, and Knight and the chick take all the kaiju pieces that they had, and they go to like some other universe so that they can help fight kaiju there or something, I guess. I don't know. And then the main 2 characters finally get together and they're dating. And there's a cute little school festival. And and she's come to terms with her sister's thing. But the thing that bothered me about this show is that you had like probably a good 7 episodes of close up on a face, looking out into something, close up on somebody walking somewhere. And it was like really dull, boring scenes that had no relevance for anything other than mood. And they could have used that time to actually do what you wanted them to do and flesh out backstory and make a more cohesive story that was relevant. But they chose not to do that. They chose not to do that, and they shoved backstory stuff in little pieces in specific episodes. And it's like, I don't care about your mood. I don't care at all. Like, not even a little.
Yeah, I think the way the show kind of like had really long, awkward pauses on certain characters, and just like there was just like lots of like dead air for like certain segments. I think that was intentional, and they wanted to have the relationships of the characters to feel more natural, where 2 people might not actually know what to say, or like a conversation might like have an abrupt end and is not like this, like, I don't know, like constantly flowing thing. And so I think that's what their intention was. And sometimes it was really funny. Like there was certain points where like somebody would say something really surprising, and then everyone just kind of has like this what reaction. And so it was funny at certain times, but at the same time, like even though it's supposed to feel natural, it's not as interesting. And so it was nice for it to happen once or twice, but when they kept just doing it over and over, it was like, okay, now we're just killing time. So
yeah, I don't know. I was not impressed with the series. I was not impressed with the ending. I don't know. I do feel like I wasted my time a little bit with this one. I don't actively hate it like I did Yashahime, but you know, I think I wasted my time watching the series. I just do.
I wish I wish out of all the like characters that kind of just got thrown aside a little bit, I wish Mujina had more. Like I feel like they were setting something up interesting with Mujina and Koyami, the nerd
No, that
guy,
was
the
the
neat
most
guy.
interesting side story. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there could have been something really cool there, and then her at the very end saying, "Oh, I hate you because you made me realize that all I had was kaiju." And I was like, okay, do you really hate him though, or do you kind of like him hate him though? Like, and so
Yeah.
I wanted that ship to do something, and they're like, nah,
No,
don't even.
they were like,
don't
nope,
get your hopes
can't
up.
have it. Can't have it.
And I guess the main
Yep, I
character,
agree. That was the
Minami,
other problem.
like the main character and
She's
Minami,
so
they're an okay couple. Like at the very end, I was kind of sold on them, but for a while, I was like, he's just following her around. Like he's literally like her pet dog that just shows up. He's like, oh, you here? Okay, I guess we could do something together. And
yep.
So, but I guess at the very end they're okay because like he keeps her from like flaking out on everything, and she makes him a little bit more interesting. So I guess they're okay together. But overall,
I mean,
I'm just like,
I think you're giving it. I think you're giving it too much credit, but that's okay. I mean, that's your opinion. I thought it was boring. Yeah. I wasn't invested in anything other than the ship you talked about before. I agree. I was invested in that. That's about it. I don't know, but whatever. All right. On to a much better show. I'm a spider, so what?
Our usual segue.
Finally, we got to the end of this. So I gotta preface, I was so upset. I watched episode 23, and then a week later, and nothing came out, and I'm like, no, there's no way that was the last episode. Absolutely not, because it was one of the battle-heavy, like, something must have happened. Like, somebody in Japan must have lost their job and lost all the funding for all of the battles for this show.
So
for, like, the last 4 episodes.
One of the heads of their CG, one of the people that were head in charge of the CG animation and kind of like was the assistant, he came out with a statement on Twitter about why they had to delay the episode and why certain episodes of Spider had such terrible CG quality. And apparently the studio that made Spider, they wanted to focus on having the regular animation. They were going to focus on all the regular animation in the production side, while they were going to outsource the CG. And so he pretty much said that when they started getting the first drafts back of the CG, it was so bad and so unsalvageable that the whole production crew that was working primarily just on the regular animation, they had to then do double job, to do double their work and say, hey, we need to redo this whole CG from scratch. And they were doing this from episode 1, pretty much doubling up their workload. And then by episode, like I don't know, 18, they just started to break. And they just fell further and further behind, where that's why the CG at that point started looking just god-awful. And so he came out with a public like statement saying that the workers are literally like on the verge of killing themselves because they get receiving so much backlash online about how bad the CG animation was and how overworked they are. And so I've never seen like someone that actually has clout in the anime industry just throw another like he didn't name drop who they outsourced it to, but he pretty much just threw them under the bus and said this was so bad we had to do their whole job over from scratch. And I was like, okay,
that is crazy.
I was like, okay, now.
Oh my god, yeah. It was noticeably bad in the last several episodes. I mean, like, it was just atrocious. But, I mean, that super duper sucks. Like, oh my god. Because the show was so good. And, I don't know. I care very little about the human side. But at least we got development in the human side. Like, freaking Anna dies instantly. And then Shun raises his taboo to the 10th level, which is going to be really fun for that one chick that hates taboo. But he finds out all the truth about the world. So now he knows what Kumako knows. And because he uses his, like, mercy skill to, like, revive her, which makes sense that it's taboo, because he's, like, raising the dead. So, I mean, I get that. I get why that's pretty taboo. And then the chick, you find out she transforms and she opens back up in an egg because now she's got 2 ways of not dying because she's strategic. But then she transforms and evolves into the humanoid arachnid format, and she looks like what she looked like in the other world. So then in the future part, they recognize the chick with the white hair as the chick from their previous life, basically. And there's actually a pretty cool scene where a little vampire baby is like getting rescued because the elves are coming to kill her, and she's got like this manservant dude that's like super duper dedicated, and he's like taking the arrows. I mean, just like taking them left and right, getting destroyed. Okay, and she's like,
the same guy from forever ago that Kumiko saved. Like when she found their carriage and this random guy lying on the road tried to save the family. That was him. And so everything came full circle. And so
he's just taking these arrows, and she's just like, she's just like, yeah, I guess I gotta help. So the little baby just bites him, and she's like, here, and makes him a vampire right then and there on the spot. And then he just goes berserker mode and just owns a bunch of elves and destroys them. I actually really liked that part of it because it was pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. But then the elf dude comes, and the elf dude is the Terminator, and I wasn't expecting the elf dude to be the freaking Terminator. Like, what? Why is he the Terminator?
So as someone that's been reading all the light novels, this show does do a couple of genre changes. Like, even the main character at this point in the books, she was like, wait a minute, what? She actually called him the Terminator. She called him in the book, she called him like an Arnold Schwarzenegger knockoff or something. Right, and so she was like, "Why are you here? This is not this type of genre. Like, we're a fantasy genre. Why is we turning into like a mecha genre?" And so they call themselves out in the actual book about this should not be in this world.
Yeah.
And so the whole book changes genre a few times, but it's really fun. But Fatima shows up. He creates his anti-magic barrier and uses it to kind of like get the upper hand on Kumiko. But as soon the moment Ariel steps in, Ariel just like wipes the floor with him.
Yeah, just like,
it's not even a contest. Like it's not even a contest. So Ariel comes in, completely destroys Fatima, saves Kumiko and the vampire baby, and then Ariel thinks that Ariel was sure that when she did the abyss magic on Kumiko, that Kumiko was dead and couldn't come back. So when Kumiko comes back, Ariel's like, wait a minute, if I can't even kill you with abyss magic, then whatever trick you're using to like stay alive, like you're a real big problem for me. So I'm gonna like offer you a truce and say, hey, just join my team, and we'll I don't even want to kill you that badly anymore. Like we'll just do this together. Because Ariel doesn't realize that Kumiko's like immortality and coming back from the dead from abyss magic. That's not something she can do every single day because she had to.
Yeah, she's actually out of the eggs. Yeah, all the eggs are gone now, and she's like, I'm gonna die. Whoops.
Yeah, so of course Kumiko accepts the offer, and then we have this situation where like the Demon Lord and Kumiko are proclaiming themselves to be like, oh, we're the heroes of the story, we're the good guys, and
it was like totally like a hero wine shot at the end. It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. It was great. I've enjoyed Spider, even with the bad animation, which I feel so bad for the animators. Like, my God, that's really hard to deal with. But this whole show has been delightful from start to finish, and I assume we're not continuing into another core, but I would think that it's getting a new season.
So we're not. It's not scheduled for another season or core. And the thing about Spider is that the anime ends at volume 5 of the light novels, and for another 7 volumes is the stuff that's happens in between the past and the present. There's a lot of stuff that happens, and I'm not sure if they're really going to make a second season, simply because the way that all the events are framed would be really weird and difficult to direct. And so they might have to pull like a Bakano, where they're constantly jumping between multiple timelines and time periods, and that might be a way to sell the episodes. But otherwise, it might be like if they make a season 2 and it's just laid out exactly like the books are laid out, it's going to feel like a completely different genre, because like everything that we've been watching so far is just completely different in this next segment. So well, I honestly think anyone that enjoyed Spider should go ahead and read the light novels, because they're so good and they add more context to a lot of stuff. Like in the light novels, we get to see a little bit more of the human side. And so for the last, like, for multiple books, we saw Shun's taboo level slowly climbing. And there was a few other times that he used the mercy skill where it climbed up. And we were like, wait a minute. Oh, it's level 5. Now it's level 7. And then right before the battle was level 9. So we knew that if he would use it again, it would have maxed out. So we got to see what happens after this. Because even though I'm 7 books ahead of the anime, I still don't know because I'm still in the middle.
Excellent. Well, hang on just a second. We're gonna restart some stuff here on the stream. Test 1 2 1 2. Am I good?
I can hear you.
Very good.
All right, cool. The world ends with you. It has ended.
It has ended.
It has. Erik points out in our notes that he accidentally spoiled that Rhyme's memories were Beat's entry fee. So yeah, the memory part.
I thought that was revealed in the game at the very beginning of week 3. I was sure that was a thing that was revealed, but then in the anime they were like, "Oh no, this is like Beat's surprise moment where he gets he finds out his sister didn't love him quite as much as he thought as she did." And I was like, "Oh wait a minute, that was a thing." And so I accidentally spoiled that, but it's not. I don't think it's a huge spoiler because even the anime was like, "Oh yeah, that was Rhyme's entry fee." All right, what about you, Neku? What do you have to say about this matter? It was handled so like, "Oh yeah, that's the thing. Let's move on."
Yeah.
But yeah, it's over. There are a few moments from the game or lines of dialogue from the game that I wish was in the anime. Like in the game, they did a little bit better job at showing you exactly how much of a not quite toxic, but just like not a nice person Neku was before this whole thing started. He was not a nice guy, and so they did a little bit more showing you that in the game. And
you didn't get a really good impression of that in the anime. Like you didn't get an impression of who Neku was pretty much at all before any of this. So
yeah. And then the very final line in the game is supposed to be "the world begins with you." It's supposed to be like the world, like you're your own window into the world, and like you're in charge of like getting your own experiences, and you can do whatever. And it's supposed to be like this really meaningful statement, but then the anime cut it out, and it was like, come on, like that's the ticket right there. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in love with the show. I didn't have the nostalgia for the game, so, I mean, it was an ending. It wasn't terrible, but I didn't love it. I was okay with it being over.
Yeah. Towards the end, like for the first few episodes, they were kind of speed running the game, and they cut out a lot of stuff. But as the episodes progressed, they started slowing down the pace a little bit. And so, because in the beginning, the pace was so fast, Towards the end, it was like, okay, I guess we're not getting any new content, which kind of sucks. I was like, what's kind of the point?
The timing. You're right that the timing doesn't make sense because they have the new game coming out so soon. It feels like it should have been connected. Yeah.
So it is a little disappointing. So I mean, it's footage. I'll probably make an AMV with this. So I'm happy regardless.
Oh. On to something much worse. Tokyo Revengers. This show definitely hurts my soul. I will definitely refer to this show as the anti-Nagatoro because it had the opposite trajectory of Nagatoro. Nagatoro started way down here and went way up here, and then Tokyo Revengers started way up here and went way down here. Like I can't get low enough. I hate the main character. I hate him. I actively despise him.
I just feel like virtually anyone else would have been able to do a better job.
Anybody. Literally, pay even a modicum of attention to what you're there for, what you're supposed to be doing. This episode was so frustrating, okay? Oh my god. So if you missed, we get a whole nother freaking core of this now because he goes back and everything is good and they're still alive, but that random dude that was in like the second to last episode or something who's like, I'm gonna beat you up and I'm gonna go after Toman, has waited all this time in order to murder him and the girl. and they find he was outside of the car coincidentally, and they crashed. It was his buddy with the red hair who drives the car up, and he's been extorted by the other gang to kill the guy and his girlfriend, and then the whole car explodes, and all like the two of them die, and he's because he can't get him out because she's been stabbed through like the thing, and yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, why do you even have to put in that much effort? Like, it's so much easier to kill someone. I mean, like for real though, like you didn't have to drive your truck into that car like that. Like, you don't have to suicide dive to kill someone. Like, you're a gangster. I'm sure you have a gun somewhere. Like, I know it's Japan and like it's not easy finding a gun, but fuck, like I'm sorry, but like even Dobu has a gun. And it's like it has to be a gun.
No, you're right, man. They've killed people in this show. More efficiently than this. Like the dude that shanks the other guy in the warehouse and stuff like that. No, Darius says we're brutal this week. But you know what? I'm always brutal about Tokyo Revengers. Hey, you know what? It's Darius's birthday today, so everybody give Darius a big happy birthday out there, all right? But yeah, no, this show is awful, and I don't understand like why it has to be so bad. And I really honestly hate the main character because the main character is most of the show, and he's so annoying. Yeah, I mean, really, he's so bad at it. Like I like Draken. Draken is cool.
So Akun drives the car into Hina's car, and he's like, "Oh no, Takamichi wasn't in there." Like, it's not hard to look in someone's rear window and decide if they're in the car or not. Like, it's not hard. So he's like, "Oh no, I drove my car into this other car for nothing, and I'm dying and bleeding out." And Takamichi comes up and is like, "Oh, what happened? You were supposed to be a good guy now." He's like, no, the timeline is still bad, and I'm still a bad guy. And then Hina's trapped. I don't know why Hina saw that car coming like almost 2 blocks away. Like Hina just sat there and allowed it to hit her. But like Hina's trapped, and the car explodes, and Hina dies again.
I hate to bring it back to something else, but this is exactly what the stupid TVA thing in the Loki show is made for, okay? Those dudes need to come in and fix this timeline, because this timeline is screwed up, and this dude is incompetent. He's incompetent, okay? I can't deal with him.
But what gets me, right? After this, after Kina dies again, and he's like, "Oh no, I failed." I'm like, all right, get up before the police even come, before the fire is even out. Just go back in time and fix it. You're a time traveler. Yep. Time travelers are supposed to be some of the most hard-boiled characters like you could ever write, because they know they have the power to fix anything. But he's crying at her funeral, and he's like having a breakdown, and I'm like, no, just fix it.
Back
I don't understand what the attachment is to the current present, right? I don't understand. I don't know. His job sucks. He hates his life. He doesn't he feels like a loser, right? I don't know what his attachment is. Just go back in time and stay there.
And redo it. Yeah, exactly. Redo the whole thing. Don't break up with her in the first place. Just stay with her. Relive your life. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Why wouldn't he just do that? He had so much more going for him.
That sweet job at Blockbuster, like
I know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why he doesn't either. You're right. He has no attachments to the future whatsoever.
I don't know.
He can fix the timeline by going back. You know.
So I don't know if I want to watch the second. I feel like I have to just to see how it ends. But like, I'm not really excited about the second core. A lot of people love this show. Yeah. I don't really know why. There's somebody that loves everything, honestly, but people are thinking this show is like,
I don't get it either.
10. I'm like, whatever.
I can't stand this show. I just can't. But whatever. Hey, guess what? Now we're gonna go to Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro.
Nagatoro's great.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I love her. Look at her. She's so dead-eyed. It's the best.
So
it's the
best. And this is it took a while for your manga to be shipped, but at the very least now you can just read the whole thing after. You don't have to worry about passing the anime. You can just read the whole thing afterwards.
I have 7 volumes coming in on Monday, and then the 8th volume ships when it drops in the US on August 21st. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to read all the Nagatoro that's been released in English. I'm stoked about it because I love her. And yeah, it's because she's not creepy like that first episode with the Uncle Ruckus eyes. And I'm telling you, it was like way down here, and then it went way up here, and it was really
you will
good.
have to suffer through that a little bit because in the manga, it takes a little bit more time for her to get that way. The anime kind of sped up her character development a little bit, so you will have to deal with some pretty bad bullying on her part. But she gets, she gets better. She can stick with it.
I love the fact in this last episode, right, that so like the whole crux is they have to make competing art exhibits, and of course the busty, never present, all of a sudden character of the art lead or whatever has done a nude photo of herself as she did before. I mean, do you need the attention that bad? I'm just saying, but whatever. Yeah. So they've got this little outfit, and they have basically the system to make They've basically done the equivalent of making a nude TikTok in order to get it popular, in order to get people to buy their merch, in order for people to go to that area and vote for his display. And I love the ingenuity of it. Like, this is absolutely ingenious, and I'm all about it. And they have a whole shtick where these cats, and her as, like, the cat girl, like, mess with people. And that's what she does. And it's like they're taking advantage of, like, kinks by making a mess with people, you know? And I loved it.
Her heart's not into it because she doesn't her heart's not into it because she doesn't actually like bullying people. Like, she's not actually a bully. She only messes with the main character. And so she can't fake it.
And she's not into it, but it's just ingenious. I love it that it's ingenious, you know? Like... Yeah. It's like a kinky maid cafe with a very specific fetish or something, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like. And I loved it. And they made a tiny profit on it too.
There was also a moment where we get to see that both of them are jealous of the attention that the other person is getting. Like, he's jealous that she's bullying or toying with other people, and she's like, no, that's our thing. Like, don't do that. And she's jealous because, like, the other girl's like, oh, you're so talented. This is a good painting. And she's like, no, he's a loser. That's my friend. Don't compliment.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see that, like, they genuinely actually care about each other and are invested in each other's feelings. And so we get to see that the student council finally see, like, oh, wait a minute. We can't have this student like displaying like nude photos of herself during like the festival. So we're gonna like kick her out. Like, we're gonna like kick her out of the competition. So main character wins, and him and Nagatoro like celebrate. And at the very end of the episode, he draws another picture of her, and she rewards him. But unlike the previous time where she like flicked his forehead or teased him, she actually gave him a kiss on the cheek, which is nice. Like, I was hoping, like, I really want the two of them to start dating, but I feel like the season one delivered everything that it could. Like, we got the kiss at the end.
So good that like she runs away because she's upset, and then he catches her and they fall into the pool. But before they do, he's like, "No, I want to draw pictures of you because you're what I like," and it's so cute. It's so cute, and I loved it. And I might watch it again. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to read it because I loved it. This was definitely high on my list from this season. And it didn't whiff it in the end. It did really well. So I was quite happy. I would love another season
was
of
actually
this.
Pretty solid. Animation was really good, too.
Yeah, it was. I would love another season of this. Please give me more of this type of thing. Please, anime gods, please bring me this forever and ever. Amen. Shadow's House. Shadow's House had an interesting ending. Although, I questioned the ending, but that's okay. It had an interesting ending. You've got... Go ahead.
Oh, no, you can do it.
No, you do it. You love this show. I want you to talk about it.
Okay, so Emilico gets abducted by Edward, and then Kate kind of like assembles all of the shadows and their dolls to like try to get her friend back, and like most of them are like, yeah, we gotta like repay our debt to like Emilico, and she helped us in all these things while Lou and what's her name? I forgot Lou's shadows. But like they're like, nah, we're kind of help you a little bit, but we're not really like going to get too involved. And so everyone comes up with this scheme where they're going to dress Kate up as one of the faceless maidens or whatever. And so she goes sneaking into the adult building because like the children and the adults are separated. Where the children had to stay in one side of the mansion while the adults had to stay on the other side, and they're not supposed to cross over. And so she has to dress up in order to do that. And she tries to find Kate, she tries to find Emilico, and Edward is kind of holding her hostage, trying to get information from her through about Kate. And it's a little weird because Edward, like, I'm not saying Edward should be torturing a child, but at the same time, why aren't you torturing
He's not
this
doing
child?
a lot.
He's literally just having a
Yeah, no, he's not doing a lot. His soot power is to make himself sound like other people, so that's the only thing he's using is like making himself sound like other people. It feels very inefficient. And Edward's trying to do this to get like curry favor with grandfather and turn them in, and I'm gonna get kudos and all this. But then of course it doesn't work, and they get out. And then at the end, Edward's like, yeah, I'm really sorry. And they're like, that's okay. You'll be reprimanded. And I feel like he didn't even get any real punishment for anything he did either.
They lowered him down the floor.
Weird and eccentric.
So he was on the second floor, and they lowered him down to the first floor. And I'm not even sure that's going to be a plot that sticks because apparently the last 3 episodes of Shadow's House is anime original. Pretty much right after where all the dolls drink the coffee and they get kind of like hypnotized. That's where the anime kind of diverges a little bit. And so Emilico still breaks out of her thing. But in the manga, something like this is just like, so I think the anime wanted to have like a climactic ending and wanted to have like, oh, this big event is happening without messing up their timeline too much. Because pretty much at the very end, everything just reverts back, right? Edward is still the same guy.
Yeah,
he doesn't
and that's really strange too, because Kate goes out of her way to tell Emilico what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's like she knows about all this unethical stuff. And at the end, everybody's just kind of back to the way they were. So now we know that all the humans are kidnapped people, and that they're going to be merged with the shadows. And that was the thing. That was the thing.
Didn't get revealed in the manga until much later. I haven't read the manga, but a friend of mine has, and so she's been kind of giving me information about how it's different. Apparently, that information didn't get revealed until much later. And the biggest, I guess, consequence of the anime having this anime original ending is that the plot line with Rum and Shirley actually just got revealed in the manga like really, really recently. And so apparently, the little tiny doll that was following Kate around for a little bit, that was Rum's finger, or like, I don't know, like a little tiny little finger that Rum was talking to. Apparently that's Rum's thing now. And so it revealed that Rum and Shirley are still somewhat alive, and Rum now has like somewhat control over shadow powers. And so this was something that just got revealed in the manga, and all the little things that this little tiny doll that's going to be around is going to be doing is supposed to be like unknown. You're not really supposed to know, oh, is it good? Is it evil? What is this thing doing? And it's going to be making more appearances. But I guess I'm not mad that he kind of like ruined that, because apparently the manga readers like, oh, this is supposed to have like so much weight and so much like questions for all the things that are going to happen next. And so for them to reveal it this early kind of like breaks that a little bit. But I do think that like it kind of does serve the purpose of having the anime feel kind of like this is the complete anime. It didn't do what Wonder Egg does, where like the final episode just feels like, oh, we're just spinning our wheels for next season, and next season's going to come, and then we'll answer your question.
Wonder Egg. So, we'll get there. Yeah.
So I'm happy with Shadow's House. I am interested in checking out the manga afterwards, because the manga is like in full color, and it seems really cool. But it's not licensed yet, so hopefully somebody can pick it up. I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I did think it was a little arbitrary that everything went back to normal at the end, because I'm like, there's some atrocious stuff here. We're not going to address that yet. I guess we're going to get another season to address this atrocious stuff that's going on here. But okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Battle Athletes Victory Restart. I made you watch every episode of this, Erik. Every single episode.
Battle Athletes was not my least favorite show of the season.
It wasn't mine either. I like this more than I like Tokyo Revengers. Tokyo Revengers just went down such a terrible rabbit hole, and I just could not. I couldn't.
Like Battle Athletes is really stupid. I hate the villains. The villains are so dumb. Like,
oh, the villains are the worst part. Like those 3 dudes that are, the SEAL members,
yeah,
Gendo's
like they're so
friends.
dumb.
I don't like them.
Pretty much unnecessary, and so I hate the villains. But I mean, it's the show is okay most of the time. Like Battle Athletes is like a solid it's somewhere in the 7-point mark. Like it's somewhere in there. It's okay. But I do feel like it's weird that out of all the crazy events we've seen so far, like the show pretty much started off with them scaling like this, like, I don't know, 500-foot mountain or whatever.
I know what you're going to say, because I had the same thought. You did all of this stuff to get to this point, and you got like 100-meter dash? That's your end?
It's like,
is 100-meter dash? What?
It's like, at this point, how is this even different than just like the regular Olympics? Like the whole point was these girls are supposed to be like superhumans. Like they're doing crazy stuff. And I'm like, if it's just
and that was the shtick in the old one too. She's got like the giant like boulder she's pulling behind her and stuff. I mean, that's the shtick in the old one as well. And then, but no, 100-meter dash. That's what we get. Yeah, that's what we get at the end.
At this point, the girl with the prosthetics could do the dash. Like she could handle that at this point.
I know. If I were one of the other girls, I would be pissed off. I got electrocuted on like this spike that I have to free climb up in a rainstorm, and it's like, and you had to do 100-meter dash.
Yeah, so it is a little weird. Okay. I'm not sure what the directors were thinking with that. Maybe they ran out of budget and they couldn't do crazy stuff anymore.
I don't know. But the main character wins and becomes the Cosmic Beauty, and when she becomes the Cosmic Beauty, she's like, "Hey,
the power of friendship. Yeah, don't forget that.
She does. She does." She goes in and she's like, "Hey, I don't understand why this is political and not a sporting event. So let's go back to making it a sporting event. I have decreed." And then she abdicates.
That easy.
And that's it. That's it. That's all she does.
Said, get sports out of politics. Or it's funny because like now like the message is like people are trying to say get politics out of sports, and like politics is everywhere. So like you can't just say that, right? But then the message of this story is get sports out of politics. And you're like, you know what?
Politics.
Yes. It shouldn't. Politics should not be decided by a sporting match. I wholeheartedly agree.
It's really arbitrary. But then every character went on to do exactly what they wanted to do. Like the Gertland girl took all of the weapons that they were supplying to the Martian insurrection out. And the other girl with the kangaroo, her friend's not dead, and they reconciled, and now everything's okay on their the moon or something, or Mars or whatever. And the scientist girl is now a scientist. And Ava met her mom. And Seva also met their mom. And everything is okay and hunky-dory. And just like what we were talking about the whole damn show, we're like, I bet because they hadn't shown the grandma's face, the grandma's going to be the character from the first Battle Athletes. And sure enough, Grandma was the character from the first Battle Athletes. She was the main character in the first Battle Athletes.
Was this a sequel?
It was a sequel. Yep. Her grandma was the character from the first Battle Athletes.
That was like completely like a remake formatted for comedy. So this was a complete sequel. Okay.
Sequel. That was the reveal in the end. Was her grandma had the same hairstyle, and they showed an old picture of her with the other character. Because the other character that was with her grandma was the other one in the other show. Like the old lady that served the cookies was in the original show too, which I didn't realize.
So, but isn't that a little strange? Isn't that a little strange though? Waiting to the final episode to reveal that it's a sequel. I mean, technically, Higurashi did the same thing. Where Higurashi waited. I mean, no, even Higurashi like revealed it like 3 episodes in that it was a sequel and not a remake. But waiting to episode 12 to reveal that this is a sequel is pretty outrageous, kind of.
A little bit. But it's over now. So we'll move past that. We will, in fact, move past that. To Your Eternity. Hey, if you thought you were going to get out of the first 13 episodes of To Your Eternity without more sadness, I have some bad news for you. There's more sadness.
Pour one out.
Gugu is the number one. Gugu is the best character in this entire season. Now, don't get me wrong, there are better shows, because Odd Taxi is a better show. That's correct. But Gugu is the GOAT. He is the absolute GOAT.
Best
number
character,
one.
best boy. All right.
He is best
All right.
boy. Like, you know,
everybody,
when Crunchyroll
we need to get the train rolling right now.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll
Gugu
Anime
is
Awards.
best boy. 110%
Right. If Gugu doesn't win best boy
boy
for Crunchyroll Anime Awards, we'll start a riot. We need to get the steam rolling right now. We need to get
stupid,
all the tweets out. Get the backing.
If stupid whiny Midoriya can be voted best boy, then Gugu makes Midoriya look like a pile of crap, okay? He absolutely does. He's the number one best. He is fantastic. And now he's dead. He's dead. Ugh,
but he got to grow up, though. Right. He got to grow up. At least he did that. March didn't even get to be like 7.
March didn't get that. That's true. So Gugu is now, there's a time skip, and Gugu is buff. He is buff as crap, man. And so, and Rin is hanging out, but Rin's not hanging out with Fushi anymore. She's hanging out with Gugu because she's got a thing for Gugu. And so she's having a bougie birthday party.
He has the 6-pack, and he's like, yeah. So like, I don't blame her. Like he's a good catch.
yeah, man. So she's having a birthday party, and she's getting like arranged marriage to some other kid, right? That she's never met, and she doesn't want to marry. So she invites Gugu, and Gugu and Fushi show up, and they look like the homeless dudes that live on the corner in this bougie birthday party. All right? And everybody's like, oh my God, what are you doing? And he buys her the same flower she was picking the day he saved her life and crushed his own head, okay, from the market, and brings it to her. And they scold him for it because, oh, don't you know she has trauma? And she's like, no, it's okay. It's really okay. But then, of course, because he's ignored the bad guy thing, the Knockers comes back and takes the form of all the stone in the building, and he saves her life again and pushes her off while he goes and fights it.
The whole family. He saves her. He goes back and saves both her parents. He picks up both her parents, carry them out. Then picks up the dog and tells somebody to go carry the dog out. He single-handedly saved her entire family that day.
He outfitted and worked for years on a new head so he could make a spark in it and practice shooting fire so he can help Fushi fight the thing. All right?
Yeah,
and he's sitting here
at this point, he's pretty much Sasuke.
Fire at it.
His fire jutsu
my God.
is so good.
Gugu is the very best. And at the end, he saves her life again. By keeping her from
second time in that episode. For the 3rd time in total, he saves her life. But this time,
oh my God,
Riri's asking for a lot, so he gets crushed.
Heartbreaking scene when Fushi's fighting the other side of the Knockers thing, and he turns into Gugu, and then he just collapses, and he has this breakdown right there, and he's like, no, Gugu is not dead, but his body has just turned into Gugu because it knows Gugu is dead, and he's dead under the rocks protecting her, and her parents still don't acknowledge him. That's the thing. They still don't acknowledge him the whole time.
That is pretty messed up. Like, it is pretty messed up that he saved their whole family and he's not getting a hero's burial because Rin didn't even know that he died. Like they didn't, like, no one acknowledged it. No one is going around town saying, "Hey, this hero right here saved us all. Let's bury him and give him a proper funeral." No, they didn't. He should get a statue
in Town Square. Man, he should get a statue in Town Square. But at the end, Rin comes back, and Fushi pretends to be Gugu. I don't even know that was necessary, because she needs to deal with her grief. But at the end, she knows that he's dead, and she tells her dad she's not going to get married because she's in love, but that guy is gone now. And it's cute, and it was a really good ending. But I didn't want Gugu to die, and I knew he was going to die, because To Your Eternity is good at making you care about people and then ripping them away heart-wrenchingly. That's what they do.
I don't think Rin's parents were even that bad, because we got introduced to Rin's parents, and she painted them in like, oh, my parents don't love me and they're not there for me, and I just want to be myself, but they're forcing this identity down upon me. And we kind of just like rolled with it because like, okay, this is the standard, like, oh, parents don't understand their child doesn't understand their parents. But we knew Rin was like full of it, right? We knew it, right?
Oh yeah.
And so even now, I don't think that the parents are that bad, because when Rin said, I'm in love with someone, the father was like, oh, really?
Let me meet him.
Where is he?
Yeah, no.
Let me meet him.
They weren't.
And the father seemed excited. Like
every one of these bougie people. Gugu was invisible to all of these bougie people, though. Okay, so let's not forget that. All right, there's a lot of classism going on here.
That is
you know,
fair. But I do feel if Reed had brought this muscular man into the party and said, "Hey, I'm marrying this guy," they might have gave him the shot. They would have asked about the mask, and they would have had some hard questions about the mask, but they might have gave him a shot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. To Your Eternity is continuing, so we'll get another core of it at least, which is exciting.
More dead children.
More dead children. Fruits Basket is not continuing. We got the very end of Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't even know how to feel about this.
You can't really do much more than that than to show them as grandparents and show their grandkids like playing around. Like that's a pretty thorough finale. Like they said it's it. Really There's not another season. But there is another season.
Yeah. Episode 12 was a lot of like all the curses break and everybody gets together, and episode 12 kind of felt like the end, but then they added episode 13 where it's like almost like a postscript where you find out everybody what they're doing, everybody's love of Toru, and you know, and at the very end it's grandparents Toru and Kyo walking in the garden. So it was cute.
We got to see Yuki declare that he loves Machi, and so that was a nice thing. I support a lot of the relationships in Fruits Basket, and then some of the relationships I can't support at all. Right?
You're talking about Kureno. You are talking about Kureno right now. I know that you're talking about Kureno.
No, I don't hate Kureno's. I don't hate Kureno's relationship. I don't hate the relationship,
but. Well, okay, Kureno is like 10 years older than her, and she's 17, okay? I'm going to keep going back to that because it's problematic.
It is problematic.
Uo doesn't look Uo looks older than she is. That's why it's not that problematic when you see it. But no, she's like 17, okay? Like, still pretty problematic. But you're right.
They're not completely jumping into it though. Like they're not going the route with Rin and Cowboy. I forgot his name. They're not going that. They're not jumping into it that fast, right? So at the very least, they're not like, oh, we're sleeping together tonight. Like they're not doing that. At least they're taking their time.
Yeah.
If they slow it down a little bit, I think they're fine.
It's not like that's a new thing. Hatsu and Ren have been sleeping together in this show for like at least a year. You know, like it's not a new thing.
Ren is like 5 or 6 older than he is too. Like he's 14 and she's like 20, I think.
Yeah, problematic.
But Hatsuharu is not like a 14-year-old though. He looks like almost. So that's pretty much the same thing with where the blonde girl looks older than she is, and so that's why I give them a pass. Yeah. And we don't realize there's such a big age gap between Hatsuharu and Rin either. But pretty much the main relationship that I hate is Akito and Shigure because I hate them both individually.
Well, that's because you hate both of them. Together. I was gonna say I don't think you hate. I think you just hate both of those characters, and you're like, I don't want them to be happy, and that's fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also think that relationship is super toxic, like incredibly toxic. Why is that the final relationship there? Like,
I know, like there's just like 100 reasons why this relationship shouldn't work. Like Shigure slept with Agato's mom just because, like, I want to make both you and your mom jealous and rub it in your mom's face, and it's like. Okay, that's really weird. And also, if you are able to formulate sentences and be an individual and be a conscious person, and you watch someone being born, you cannot then date that person. I don't care. If you're like a fully individual person and you're like 6 or 7 or 8 years old and you watch literally that person being born, you cannot date them. That's a hard no. That's a hard no.
I mean, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair, man. That's pretty fair. Yeah.
So that's why I can't accept it.
Okay. I'll give you that. Well, at least Kyo and Toru are age appropriate, so we'll take that.
That's a good relationship.
We'll take that. Yeah, and it was cute. I mean, the ending was good. it was very cathartic after like a lot, like basically my entire adult life I've been watching this show because I started watching it when I was like the end of high school is when I watched the first part of Fruits Basket, and then like now I'm finishing Fruits Basket and I don't even. It's such a long time. I'm very old.
Yeah. I'm glad that the Fruits Basket fans finally got the anime that they deserve. It is a pretty iconic show, and I'm sure pretty much every like shoujo romantic show that come out in the last like 10 years after that has been influenced by Fruits Basket in some way. So it is nice to finally see that this show finally got its brotherhood moment.
Yeah, I agree. It was good times. Oh, Mars Red. Oh, Mars Red. Okay, so Mars Red. Mars Red was I feel like a little bit all over the place. Your climactic ending. Your climactic ending here is Maeda. So Maeda is a vampire, and he has a real the last episode is a lot of flashbacks and fantasy kind of crossover where he's experiencing. It gives you a lot of insight into his past where he gets his arm blown off and he thinks he's going to die. And that's when the general rescues him. And the general's like, hey, since I rescued you and your life like basically belongs to me, I want you to marry my daughter. And he's like real nervous about it and he doesn't know her, but then they get to know each other and all of this. And in the end, he's having some fantasy where he has both of his arms and she's there, but he dies in the same spot that she dies at when the sun comes up because he's a vampire too. And the younger vampire guy goes on to like, he's like letting that guy go on to lead the team and the rest of the vampire town that now exists.
So I feel like this show had a lot of potential. And I feel like they decided to give it this unique directing style where it's going to like slow drip information to you and like jump between back and forth between different times and kind of like just matter-of-factly present things to you where you don't really know when something is taking place until like it's over, right? And so I feel like they wanted to have this unique kind of like gimmicky directing style that kind of falls flat on its face because there's just so much that just feels like it's a surprise for no reason at all. Like I don't understand why Maeda has to have his flashback about how he met the general and his relationship with the general in episode 13. That could have been episode 1 and it'd been so useful to have some type of grounding for who Maeda is instead of having this blank slate, like reclusive man that doesn't show his emotions and you don't never know what he's thinking and you don't know what his motivations are. And it's like, we've been through this for 12, 13 episodes. And now we finally get to see that, no, turns out he actually did love that other girl. Turns out he's really loyal to the general, and here's why he's loyal. And it's like, no, don't, like, I don't care anymore. I don't care at this point. You should told me this 3 months ago. And so, it just feels like there's so many characters in the show that kind of have this half-baked, like, backstory. Like, I don't understand why Suwa now, the guy with the gas mask, I don't know why he now loves the other girl. Like, I ship them. I like them together. But it's like, you didn't explain how this ship even happened. And so it's just really weird for me.
I feel like even the reporter girl and the vampire guy was kind of arbitrarily put on you 2 episodes ago. I don't feel like that had any build up, and then it was there. And I get that they did like 2 episodes worth, but it was like there was no real build up for that, like at all. Like, and then all of a sudden he's Batman,
Yeah, I feel like they wanted to make a show that had no main characters. Because first we thought, oh, Maeda is the main character. We'll eventually learn about him. But then they switched to like the younger guy. No, he's the main character. Yeah. But then they kind of like,
we got backstory of the older guy too. And
yeah. And so at a certain point, it's like the reason why main characters exist is because we need a point, like we need somewhere to be grounded. We need like a reference point to see where everything's going. And the way they kind of shift between everything, it's like we got a piece of everything, but like not enough of anything. And so
no, I don't disagree with you on that.
So I think this was my least enjoyable show, and for me, this was the show that was hardest for me to like get up and watch the episode because I just knew I wasn't going to understand anything. I almost wish that like
I don't know. If I'm picking a bottom, I think it's probably going to be World Ends With You. I just didn't care about anything that happened in The World Ends
That's
With
fair.
You. Like, at all.
That's fair.
Like,
if you're not invested in the game, I think that's perfectly fair. For Mars Red, I think I would have loved it a lot more if Deathroot had been like the narrator from episode 1. If they had framed this whole thing as being, here's our narrator, here's our perspective, and it'd been even fine if you hadn't seen like all the different plot developments. If they had kind of like jumped between different plot developments and like skipped over certain things and just played it as, oh, here's how Deathroot sees the world changing. I think this could have been really good. But then to be like the very last episode and the very last scene to reveal Deathroot is the one that's like, oh, here's our narrator of the story, and he's like now in modern time telling you about all the events that happened with the vampires, and he's putting on a play. It's like, wait a minute, no, it's too late. I don't even know anything about him at this point.
Yeah. No, but, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay.
Every show
now. You don't have to go into the show anymore. So we're done with the show. And you don't have to watch it anymore. Slime Diaries. I thought Slime Diaries was super duper cute as a show. It was fluffy and it wasn't substantive. You know, I mean, you don't really have a lot of stuff you got to care about here, but it was pleasant. The animation was very good all the way through. It went through a bunch of holidays, which I thought was a cute little way to do that, like through a whole year's worth of holidays in the town. But yeah, I liked it. The last episode was about New Year's and New Year's festivities in Japan. And I like how they made him like the little shrine thing, and he's on the pedestal like the doll. That was delightful.
I think Slime Diaries didn't quite need 12 episodes. I think Slime Diaries would have been fine with 8. I'm not mad at it. I love it. I love the show. I like seeing all the characters. I do feel like at a certain point, it's like, oh yeah, it's more holidays. It's more casual side plots. But like, there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like it works perfectly as a manga that you can read on the side of the main slime plot. As an anime, I think it'd have been a little bit more tighter with just 8 episodes and cut out some of the stuff, maybe rush you a little bit more. But it's fine. It does what it wants to do. It's okay.
Erik, it's the Fumofu of slime, okay? It's Slime Diaries Fumofu, okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I love Full Metal Panic Fumofu. It's not as good as Second Raid, but I love Full Metal Panic Fumofu. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
This did a really good job at tying us over because like the most recent episode of Slime just happened, and it's really good. So like we didn't really have to have like a whole season in between. So it was nice.
Yeah. So
all right,
I have interesting feelings about Zombieland. All right. I actually really enjoyed Zombieland this season. I really honestly did. But the thing that I liked about Zombieland was definitely the individual character development. I loved Saki's episode. I loved the little girl's episode where she does the beep boop beep boop song.
Yeah,
I loved Tang's episode. I loved all of the character development episodes. And unfortunately, because that's what I like in Zombieland, I couldn't care less about the ending. I just couldn't. I don't care about their final concert. I don't care about them coming together and performing. I don't care because I care about them individually. I don't care about them as a group. And I just felt like this episode was pretty anticlimactic for me because I care about them as individuals, you know?
Like, I think this, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a show about an idol group wanting to perform at bigger venues. So at the end, they eventually have to like, say, hey, okay.
Oh, yeah, no. I understand why this episode needs to happen. It's just like, if I'm ranking it, this is a lower, ranked episode for me, personally,
So we get to see the conclusion of the whole catastrophic flood that happened. And so Kotaro convinces the governor to, like, say, hey, we need to get, like, all the roads to the stadium clear. Like this is going to help Saga. This is going to be what puts us on the map. Like, please clear the roads. And the governor finally agrees to it.
And then everybody comes together. All of the people they've met in the previous episodes all come together to help and contribute and bring more people and promote and stuff. And I mean, it was a feel-good episode, Like, and they come and they like fill up the stadium. All of these refugees from this tragic disaster come in and fill up the stadium that they perform at. And it's really cute.
I love that even the Birdman came and he flew
Yeah,
in.
the bird dude, the dancing
he
guy.
came in and he just ascended from the skies and then looked up. It was hilarious. It was hilarious because it felt so much like the moment where everyone were funneling into the station, like in massive numbers. It felt like Avengers Endgame, where Captain America looks around
all the
and
stuff
everyone's
opens,
just coming
all
in.
people come out on your left.
Yeah. So they finally put on their concert, and it's amazing. It's a completely full stadium. They put on a perfect show. Their new outfits are so great. Like I feel like this might have been like some of their best outfits of the entire series. I think Tay especially looked really, really good in her outfit.
Yeah,
and they also had this moment where Tay comes out, grabs the microphone, and starts hyping up the crowd by making zombie noises. And it seems everyone on Reddit is convinced that it was a reference to God, what is his name? What is it? Freddie Mercury? Because apparently Freddie Mercury did that exactly like a very similar skit.
He comes out and he vocalizes, like he vocalizes with the crowd. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And so everyone is convinced that this was intentional Freddie Mercury reference, and I was convinced that Tay was gonna awaken at that point. I thought she was gonna scream
I thought
and
so
start
too.
talking like regular, but they didn't.
Yeah,
so we still have to
too.
wait. We'll still have to wait for Tay to have her awakening moment. But the concert was really, really good. They even did an encore. They did an encore and performed the song that they had planned. The first time they performed at that stadium, it was so bad that they didn't even do their planned encore song. So they revealed their new song at the very end. It was really good. And Kotaro came in and congratulated them, and he burst into tears. But the strange thing is, when Kotaro was like giving them praise and he was like crying, he was hiding the fact that he was bleeding. Apparently, he was coughing up blood or something, and he was trying to hide the fact that something is very wrong with him. And I don't know if it's the curse coming down on him or if there's something else, but Kotaro is not in a good spot right now.
Nope, he's not.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
is there anything more planned for Zombieland? Have they announced anything else?
They haven't announced anything, but the very last scene of the episode was a spaceship coming and blowing up the entire town. And so everyone's thinking, like, wait a minute, what is this? I think that the spaceship coming in at the very end might have been like a scene from a movie that they're going to star in possibly next season or maybe a movie. And because in season 1, the opening song for season 1 is them fighting aliens. And so I think this all is just like a promotional gimmick. But who knows?
Okay.
The show can do anything. I can see that.
That's true. I enjoyed it, so.
Yeah.
Oh okay. So, oh my God. All right. So if you'll recall, when we watched last season, we loved Wonder Egg. But the problem with Wonder Egg is it was done by a very busy studio. So they had to skip a week or two or something and do like a recap and whatever, because they just didn't have the capacity to animate all of the frankly pretty top tier anime that they were doing, right?
They had Wonderland, they had Neverland, and they had a third show that I can't remember what the third show was, but they had 3 really big main shows.
Yeah, it was really, really big. And so, like, and the animation and all of this was good. Let's not speak of Promised Neverland Season 2, other reasons, but the animation was really good. So they put it off for an OVA. And the first half of the OVA is a recap, so you don't need to watch the first 20 minutes if you don't want to. And then the second half, I don't really know how to describe what they've done, because
it feels like the second half of the episode was just to like bring in some type of mild conflict, but ended in a way where it's like it doesn't completely destroy like whatever path they were setting on for season, like a second season. Some people are theorizing some people are theorizing that Wonder Egg may have been initially planned for a 1-season type deal. But when it got so successful and so popular, like literally out the gate, they wrote an extra plot to like that would have been like relevant in the second season. They added in extra plots to it, and that's why they kind of like ran out of episodes or time. I don't know if that's true, but some people are theorizing it. But
I don't know. See, I feel like they decided to give us really several pieces of information in like the last 15 minutes of this episode that they didn't explain. Like they were never properly explained, right? First of all the girls that they tried to rescue are back. Like they're like, oh yeah, but they all either don't remember or have completely abandoned the girl who rescued them. So yeah. Like Rika's the girl that was like her fan is like, yeah, she's decided to be fans with some other idol now, right? You literally just risked your life like the whole season to rescue her, but okay. And then like the other girl who is dating, dating Momoe, Momoe's like, yeah, she's dating a boy now, and she really loves him, you know. And the girl that was Ai's friend is like, won't even acknowledge she knows her at all. And it's actually a pretty heartbreaking scene. There's no closure on the teacher at all. You get no closure on that. Like, was the teacher a creep? What, like?
So with the girls, I the character seems to theorize, or she thinks that the girls are just parallel versions,
different, yeah. They're parallel universe versions that were taking the place of the people that are dead.
And on one hand, I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. That's why they don't remember the person that saved them. But on the other hand, what's the point at that? Like, why did you risk your life to save someone that was already alive and living a perfectly fine life in another dimension, just to bring them over to your dimension if they're not even going to remember you or care about you because they never met you? It's like everything they've been doing loses all value if it's not literally bringing back the dead.
Yeah, I agree. It's not. And then the big reveal was that Neru is a created thing just similar to Frill.
Yeah, and she's an AI.
And then even though like and then all of the girls basically abandon her. And even I like throws her phone away, and it just seems so weird and heartless. And it's like,
it is.
What?
It's because like, what are you doing? And it's weird because Neru, like episode like 3, Neru introduces herself and says, "Hey, I'm a test tube baby. I'm super smart because of it. I run this multi-billion-dollar corporation because I'm like a genetically altered human being." And they're like, "All right, cool. You want to go like do some karaoke? Yeah, let's go do that." And it's like, it wasn't even a big deal. But then they're like, oh, Neru is an artificial intelligence.
Just throw away.
I can't risk my life to save a robot. I'm out. Call me out. I'm like, what? That was the deal breaker?
You just risked your life to save someone. You didn't actually save them. You brought a parallel them, and then they immediately abandon you. Like, is that better? Do you think that that's somehow better? Like,
I just don't get it. And it's like, it's disappointing because Neru is my favorite character. And for them to, because like all the characters had when they completed their mission and saved their person, that was kind of like their final character development moment, where you get to see like the final reveals regarding them. With Neru, it feels like she didn't get her final character development moment, nor did she get her first, because they never really. During the series, they never really explained anything with her sister. We don't really know what her relationship with her sister was like, but then they kind of just threw it in at the last moment, say, oh no, she's like a robotic copy of her sister, and that's why her sister killed her. But we never actually got to see them interact at all.
Yeah.
And so
no, we didn't. It was meaningless. And
so then Neru, like, for some reason stays with the other. She stays with Frill. For some reason, she's teamed up with Frill, and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense.
Hey, all of the people that were her friends abandoned her, and Frill is like her. And I mean, I get it a little bit, you know, but it's like, come on, maybe if you guys weren't jerks, it doesn't make any sense.
She did that before they abandoned her, though.
Oh, that's like, sort of, but she went to go find Frill because she was looking for answers. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Because she
The
left,
weirdest
and
thing
she
is,
left the rat, and
I feel like the
I don't
weirdest
know.
thing in this whole plot is that apparently building an artificial intelligence life form that looks so human that no one can tell the difference is so easy that two different people did it in their spare time
Yep.
at the same
It was a
moment
pet
without
project.
communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It is kind of
what
wild.
do you mean? I could forgive them for frill. Like when they said, oh, these two guys, even that feels weird because like these two guys that are being watched by their corporation and can't do anything, but then they had enough free time and money
To make
to
this
build an
very
actual human
complicated
girl.
AI. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's weird, but I'll give you a pass. When you didn't have another scientist like a 10-minute drive away build another artificial intelligence at the same time and they don't even know each other, it's like, wait a minute, okay, now what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird. I don't get it. It was definitely a bad cap on a great series. So
Yeah.
And it sucks
Overall,
because the original series didn't end. So it's like I would love to pretend this didn't exist, but there's no ending to the original series either. So
yeah, I don't know if it's going to get a second season. I think it had a greater chance of getting a second season if it had just not aired any final episode.
yeah, I think so too.
But
I agree.
it is
Oh, well.
what it is.
All right, so we had 2 spin the wheel shows this week. The first one was really just a monument to late 2000s garbage, called Ice, the OVA. It was 3 OVA episodes of the plot to a Sliders episode where the entire world's men die in a virus, and now there's like a whole bunch of women obviously ruling the world and doing different things to figure out what's going on.
They're trying to find like pieces of male DNA, that way they can then keep the human species going.
Some people are resigned to the fact that they will be the last generation. Some people want to fight. It's what you'd think for a post-apocalypse. It's some real hot garbage on both the dub and the animation. Like, it hurt my soul to watch.
There's one point where they're breaking into, I don't know, this facility in order to find some male DNA, and they find a baby, which I'm assuming is a male baby.
Yeah, because it's got a little wang. It's got a little wang.
I wasn't paying. I had this on the second monitor. I wasn't even paying that much attention. Honestly,
the baby's like on his hands and knees, and there's like a little wang. You could tell it was a boy.
So they find this baby boy, and they blow him to smithereens. They pull out a machine gun and they Swiss cheese this baby, like it's horrific. And even the girl in the robot, that's on the team doing this is like, oh my god, that's a baby. That's a baby. Apparently no one else knows what a male baby looks like, because that's what they were looking for, and they blow him to smithereens for no apparent reason.
This is some quality programming here. Quality. But anyway, now that our eyes are dead, we don't ever have to watch this again. So take our advice and never watch this. Never watch this.
If you're looking for any type of post-apocalypse show that's men versus women and one gender is completely assumed to be wiped out, watch Vandred. Vandred is actually
interesting. Yeah.
A pretty good. It's not great, but it is fun.
It's okay.
I watched it on the Sci-Fi Network, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. With both genders completely being oblivious and unknowing about anything about the opposite sex, and they're kind of learning as they go. And it's a pretty fun take on it. Vandred is a much better post-apocalyptic show. Watch that one.
Yeah. All right, Shattered Angels. I have to apologize for this one because I thought this was a different show. So the manga Shattered Angels was done by the same mangaka who did another show called Kanazuki no Miko, which is all about magician lesbians. And I thought I was putting magician lesbians on the list. I was not. I was incorrect. I was putting apparently this weird show about people fighting in mechas who transfer energy through kisses, and it was weird. But the art style, I like this art style. I think it's pretty.
The colors are super washed out, but the art style is so clean. It's really clean, and I was surprised that I hadn't seen more AMVs with it. Apparently, I've seen a few AMVs that use it as like multi-source and like one clip from it, like at one segment and another clip somewhere else. But I've never seen a full Shattered Angels AMV, and I was a little surprised because just how nice the animation looks.
Yeah,
but as I watched the first episode, I kind of realized I probably haven't seen any AMVs of it because no one watched the show because it's boring and dumb.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But like I said, I thought it was Magical Lesbians. I thought it was a different show. It's because it's the same artist, and the style looks so similar in Magical Lesbians than this does. So, you know.
There was one point of episode 1 where I was super shocked because the main girl.
I'll say the main dude is like leans in like he's gonna kiss her and rips her top off. You mean that part? Like what's going on there?
Because even though the show was boring, it was pretty chill. It was pretty chill, and I was kind of watching like, laid back. Like,
I have these dreams about this prince, and this guy looks like my prince, even though this guy looks like a chick. But that's okay. And so like everybody's like, you know, and then like he singles her out and goes over to her and he looks like he's gonna kiss her and he rips open her freaking shirt to like reveal her bra because she's got something on her chest.
Alone, right?
Yeah,
there was like a crowd of girls there. There was a crowd of girls there, and they backed out of his way to let him get like direct path to her, and then he rips open her shirt, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And no one helps. No one helps.
Like that's assault. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Why didn't 5 of those girls just run up on him and kick him in the shins? Like do something.
Yeah. He looks pretty frail, so they could probably take him. But yeah.
So one thing I did like about the show, I like the design of her best friend that has the goggles.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's still alive because she did have a whole school fall on top of her. But I did like her design.
Overall, the show was pretty boring. Probably wouldn't recommend for anything other than the artwork. But I've watched shows that were just pretty for being pretty, so I can't really judge. You know. Okay, so we saved the best for last, just for you guys.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
We really saved the best for last. While Wonder Egg could not stick the landing, while Tokyo Revengers just kept going down and down and down the rabbit hole.
No.
Odd Taxi is the complete and polar opposite. Odd Taxi was a treasure from start to finish.
I feel like Odd Taxi is not going to be remembered for exactly what it did. I feel like Odd Taxi sets a new bar for writing and plot development and just overall production. Like,
oh my god, the writing is so good. It's so clean. Everything is tied up. And it's not hackneyed. It's not hackneyed. And at the very end, they saved a zinger for you. They saved you a zinger for the last 2 minutes of the episode post credit that makes you clamor for more. You don't know what has happened and you are concerned. Oh my god.
It's just so good all the way through. And the thing is, when a show is this good, when the writing is this tight, right? You try to find loose threads. You go back and you're like, okay, what is not resolved? And you can't find them. You can't find loose threads. Like, everything is taken care of. The only loose thread I could find was way back when they showed Sakura and what's his name? Tamaka, whatever. They mask guy. When they showed the two of them together and they met in the taxi and he gave her the phone. I was like, oh, wait a minute. How did that happen? Apparently the manga that's coming out right now got to that point just recently and showcased how they met. And so if there's any plot hole, like there's not any plot holes, but there's any other questions you might have, the manga is serving to fill the answer those questions. And then there's an audio drama that's been on YouTube that's adding in a second like layer of plot with these pins that's been in every single episode. And the audio drama is like, it blows your mind because the pins aren't even important to the main to the anime. Right? You can watch the whole anime and not even realize that there's random pins or one single pin that's been swapping hands the whole time. You don't have to realize it's not even a big deal. But when you watch the audio drama and you realize the pins are actually the what this whole story is hinging on, and you're like, wait a minute, the pins? Is this important? The pins? It's like, oh my god, whoever wrote Odd Taxi is a genius, and it's so good.
It is. So the end is exactly what you think it is. You get a backstory on Otakawa where it talks about his family life that made him really unhappy when his parents were fighting and when his dad would take him to the zoo when he'd go see his mistress, and how he just related to animals so much more than he related to people. So when his family was in the car together and his parents died and he almost drowned, and of course at the end it comes full circle and he's in the water and he almost drowns and Capoeira saves him. Freaking alpaca and Capoeira, Shirakawa comes in and Capoeira's the door and saves him, right? Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. She should not be able to, underwater, she should not be able to kick open a window like that, but I'll give her a pass.
That's okay. I mean, it's fine. But you find out that once he came out of the accident, he had some kind of issue where he saw all the people as animals. So everybody in this show is human. All of them. And that's what that's what we think the whole time. They're all human. He just sees them as animals. But his ability is really useful. Like earlier when the skull guy's like, hey, Dobu, are you this guy that sold me this eraser and never sent it to me? And he throws him the phone, and Otakawa looks at it. He's like, that silhouette? Yep, that's Dobu. Because Dobu looks like a baboon to him, you know? And then he shoots Dobu.
And so even that plot was so clean, right? Because Dobu was like, hey, there's no bullets in that gun. I know you shot 6 bullets. And me and my friends are watching the show over the course of weeks, and we were keeping a tab on how many bullets were in that gun the whole time.
Well, that's because Dobu thought that he shot him at the pier, but he didn't. It was little brother that shot him at the pier.
Yeah.
Little brother shot Dobu. He finally got the stones to be like, an aggressive cop, and he shot Dobu. And little brother's like, oh, but your brother's gonna get in trouble, like Dobu's at the end, and he's like, yeah, my brother broke the law. Little brothers. I like little brother.
Actually is a lot. He's a lot better than I thought he was. Like I thought he was crazy. Episode 2, when older brother was able to like manipulate him so easily, I thought little brother was had some type of mental disorder and just was not functional. but he is actually one of the. You know what? He's actually one of my favorites. I think. Like he did his job. He got it done. He's better than most anime cops.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The only thing that kind of bothered me, I guess, a little bit is I'm American. I watch Western media. I'm used to a lot of diversity in my media. I like that. I like, and then we had all this show with all the animals, and all the animals were different colors and different backgrounds and different stories. And then everybody was white. And I was like, what? But then it was in Japan. So, I mean, I get it. It's in Japan. You're in, like, one region of Japan. And Japan is fairly homogenous, But you get an idea in your head of what these people look like. And then it blows your mind because outside of the brothers and to a degree Dobu, nobody looked like their animal. They sort of kind of look like their animal, but they really didn't look like their animal,
I think the biggest character that really didn't look like their animal form was the manager, the fox manager. He looked so plain as a human. He did. And as a fox, he was like I thought he was gonna be like this super like. I don't know. He looked like this super hot guy. Like I thought he was going to be like when he had
Erik,
the human form. I thought he was going to be the next. Huh?
I got some questions for you. About how much of a furry you are here, because
I just thought. But you know what the internet does. Like what was
I've seen plenty of pictures on the internet of the fox guy and the bear guy specifically. All right.
So, I thought he was going to be like super good looking and he was going to be the next internet meme.
You seem
But
pretty
he was
dialed
so
up
plain.
about how the fox was more attractive as
I'm just saying. I think the fox probably was the one that was farthest away from his animal farm, and
yeah, I didn't think the gorilla guy looked like a gorilla. Like he just had weird.
He was pretty good.
Shirakawa. The brothers really looked like the dogs. Like they were the ones that looked the most like their counterparts.
Technically, Shirakawa doesn't really look like her alpaca form. Her alpaca form looks a little bit more. I'm not trying to say pretty, but like it looks more like fluffed up. Like she has like some type of like, I don't know, more appearance. But she looks kind of plain as a human. But it's fine. So I'm not really mad at
none of the cats look like what the dog girl looked like the dog girl, but none of the cats look like anything.
The dog girl
like
looked perfect, actually.
Yeah, the dog girl looked great, but yeah, okay. So you get here.
Tied up.
So many things tied up, but I gotta talk about the end. The only thing that hadn't been tied up by like the end of the show, right? Was who actually killed the girl, and you didn't know. And then you're like in the credit sequence, and everybody like Otakawa got the money from the idol lover guy, and he's like, here's your part of the money because you helped me, and he gives it away to the guy that helped rescue him, who was the mafia boss, who helped him when he was a kid so that he could pay it forward and help him help more kids. And it was very wholesome, you know.
Yeah,
and
that's why the older brother was actually teaming up with Dobu, because like the older brother was in the same organization that Otakawa was in and got money to live off from them. And so that's why he was a crooked cop, because he wanted to like make sure that organization could continue on. So he was a bad cop, but he wasn't really evil. So
yeah. And then that guy and everybody's like kind of going along with their business and getting used to it. And the manager guy and the dog girl get some comeuppance and all that because they were involved in like chopping this body up. And you're like, what happened to the body? And there's a really cute scene where Otakawa was concerned that the cat in his closet was a person and not a cat, but then he figured out it was a cat, and he's like, oh, thank God.
That would have been really awkward if he opened up the closet and there was like a baby in there. It's like,
there's a baby in there. That would have been funny, but yeah. But then at the end, Otakawa's like in a park and he's waiting on some people to like come in his taxi, and this girl comes by, and it's the replacement member of Mystery Kiss. And she's talking about, all these people that got in her way, and she thought it would be a problem, but she took care of that problem. And they have the scene where she actually kills the girl.
Yeah, like the scene where Sakura kills Yui was like, oh my God, she's like this cute little girl that looks like she's maybe like 14, and she's just strangling this girl, like sitting on top of her, and just like mercilessly like strangled this girl. And I'm like, my God. So they have this flashback where they show you how Sakura pretty much manipulated everybody into like, and used like her cuteness and the fact that she's just a little girl to like get away with like not even being a suspect. And and
then she's like, maybe I need to take care of this one other thing, because this taxi driver saw me there. And she gets in the back of Otakawa's cab, and then she just kind of smiles, and that's where the episode ends. And it's like, oh God, please don't kill Otakawa.
The biggest problem is that since Otakawa just now started seeing people as humans, he doesn't know what she looks like as a human at all. He only knows her as a cat. And so even when like a little bit earlier than that, he was saying, I gotta go tell the police about this one girl that I picked up in my cab. And so we don't know if he actually managed to tell the police or not. And we don't know if he told them enough information for them to actually like understand. Because he can't just say this black cat got in my cab. We're like, bro, what are you talking about? So he has to tell her, hey, the new member of Mystery Kiss, this girl. And if he doesn't tell her that, then he's screwed. Because she's showing that she doesn't have any qualms with just straight up strangling someone.
She's just like, got a problem, don't care. I can take care of that, no problem.
One
but there was,
more, or so
go
one
ahead.
more aspect about Sakura is that for in her final scene, they showed that she had the pen that started out in Otakawa's car, and he gave it to the manager, and the manager gave it to like the idol groups, and it's been swapping hands every single episode. She had the pen at the end, and so if you watch the audio drama, you find out that in one of the episodes, she finds out that the pens are recording devices, and she's been using the pens in order to like get ahead. And so you're like, oh no, like what is she going to do with these pens? And so it's like, man, this show is so good. There's just so many rabbit holes to jump down, and I'm in for all of it. I'm in for all of it.
It's wonderful. Well, it's also, they do a really good job of setting it up too. Like the writing's really good, but like the scene you've got here, you know, the ET scene where he like flies off the bridge. This is what, like this interspliced is where you're getting the backstory of Otakawa's history. And it's just really well put together. Like that whole sequence, in my opinion, was very well put together, you know? This show's so good.
I don't think they needed to insert the scene. They had, so literally almost every main character happened to be at the bridge at this time. And for a second I thought that everyone was going to jump off the bridge and commit suicide at the same moment. Because they all had this like defeated look in their eyes. Oh man, I'm at the end of my rope.
There was a big montage how every character had an instance of them dropping something into water, and they went down each one. And you wouldn't have put this together if they hadn't have strung all of these clips like side by side. Because I sure shit wasn't going to put it together.
I don't think that part was completely necessary, but it was pretty funny when
like,
Sakura
it was symbolic. It was symbolic.
Going into the grease, and then the monkey saw the ring he threw his engagement ring into the river. And then you saw Rue sees the dead body. And it was like,
no, man,
really, Rue?
I thought it was necessary because it's symbolic. It's everybody's moment in the series. You know what I mean? It's everybody's meaningful moment, and it all involves dropping something into liquid, you know?
And it's so small. It's so small, but it's like, it's amazing that all of this was actually like, it's not like all this was just thrown into the last episode. No. This was
all through the show. Yeah, this was all like a reset of everybody's moment from all of these different episodes. And I don't think you would have connected those together as having that one theme if they hadn't have done that. You know what I mean? It was just really good. God, it was really good. Yeah. If you take nothing from this freaking show, like our entire series of Anime Book Club, you need to take that. You need to go watch Odd Taxi and love it as much as we do. So
yeah, like I'll say it again. I do feel like this is the new bar in terms of plot writing, and I think it can only be done. It only can be done when a director is able to write a whole show, animate it, have the whole thing done, and then go back and review and make sure everything is tied up and nothing is forgotten and is foreshadowing for everything. I don't think this anime could work if they were animating it literally episode by episode, week by week, trying to meet their deadline, rushing certain parts. Like, there's just no way to have a story come together like this under pressure. And so, I do feel like the anime industry does need to take a step back and rethink a few things and determine, like, having this type of crazy crunch schedule where you got to have a new anime every single season. Like, yeah, we get a lot of content, but then we get like Wonder Eggs where we're like, man, I love this show, but like, dang, I really wish it could have been good from start to finish.
Yeah, they whiffed it in the end. I agree. Well, I want to talk a little bit about next season. So instead of doing a full season for the next season, we're going to be doing a couple of specials. So we'll be joining you periodically to talk about the shows. We will be following a handful of shows. We'll announce them on social media and stuff like that. And I mean, we'll still see you occasionally. We just got some more stuff going on because we have to, plan some conventions and stuff. Coming up from MomoCon. Yeah, I was going to say, we have Winterfest, December 18th and 19th. You can get tickets now at momocon.com. You can get memberships for MomoCon 2022. That's May 26th through 29th, 2022. We cannot wait to be back in person and see you guys. And, I will personally thank anybody in Odd Taxi cosplay for doing that as soon as I see them.
I wonder if you're actually going to get that.
I mean, I'd love that, but I feel like it's going to be pretty rare. I think it's going to be pretty rare, but, it is what it is. There are some interesting things coming out next season that we'll be following. Higurashi Go, which is now something
Sotsu.
With an S. Sotsu,
Higurashi Sotsu.
Is coming out. It's already brutal in episode 2, which is fun.
Yeah.
Dragon Maid, the new season of Dragon Maid, the new real season of Slime. So the Slime story is continuing. The new season of Villainess, which me and Erik love. If you haven't watched All Roads Lead to Doom, the Villainess like isekai show, it's amazing, and you absolutely should. And the new season is airing now.
Yeah.
And we'll be picking up
a new season of Madoka. So
there's a new season of Madoka.
Monica Diamond is going to be back. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't love the first part.
Continuing. I didn't like the first part. I mean, it's fine. I'm an AV editor, so I have to like it. Like,
I think you're going to use it for footage. I get it.
Yeah,
I
have to like it.
So I gotta let you know
about. I'm under contract.
There's only one show that I've watched so far this season that I'm already ready to give up on because it's garbage. Okay, let me tell you how terrible Girlfriend is. All right, it's garbage. Straight up garbage. And I don't say that because I don't support. Well,
it's part of the Holy Trinity. It's part of the Trinity.
It hurts my soul.
So you can't just jump into girlfriend. You can't just jump into it. You have to follow the necessary steps. First, you have to watch Domestic Girlfriend. Then you have to watch Rent a Girlfriend.
Started okay, but then went to garbage.
Then you have to watch Girlfriend. You have to watch all 3.
Rent-A-Girlfriend was pretty garbage from the beginning, and about 4 episodes in, I almost vomited in disgust and dropped it. And then there's Girlfriend, okay? Like,
all 3 of these shows are bad. Girlfriend, Domestic Girlfriend, Rent-A-Girlfriend, all 3 are bad.
All are bad. But they're
Domestic
bad.
Girlfriend is also great. It reminds me of the line from Harry Potter when Ollivander was talking about Voldemort, and he says, Voldemort did horrible things. Great things, but horrible.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's fair.
And so that's what that's what Domestic Girlfriend is. It's horrible, but it's great. Rent-A-Girlfriend, I accept. Like it's bad, but it has some good moments. I accept it.
Girlfriend
is the last piece of the puzzle. You have to watch all 3 and accept
it's so
all
bad.
3.
It's so bad. No, it's so bad. All right. So the whole crux of this stupid show is you've got this dude who's kind of over the top. And I don't hate the dude at first. I didn't hate the dude. I didn't hate him
at first either.
Well, let me get there. All right. Because he's more interesting than a normal protagonist because he's kind of over the top. He's very comedic. He's apparently been confessing to this girl every month since they were in middle school because he really loved her. And finally she's like, you know what? Let's do it. And she's great. Saki is the best part of the show, all right?
Yeah,
and then they're dating, and he's like confessing love and it's really comedic, you know, it's over the top. But she's like, oh, you got to stop doing that. You're kind of crazy, right? Well, he's up on the roof, and some girl he doesn't even know who has to verify who he is by saying, are you so-and-so? Okay, has spent 4 hours a day working out and working on herself, several hours a day learning how to cook in order to become the perfect version of herself in order to confess to this person that she barely knows, and has made him this giant spread of food and has like a rockin' body and it does that already doesn't make sense, right? Well, then she's like, I'm going to confess to you. And he's like, well, I've actually got a girlfriend. And she's like, that's okay. I'm not going to give up. I'll just come back and do it again sometime. And she's going to give up for now and then come back, which, okay, whatever. That's respectable. You don't want to give up yet, but okay. But you know, you're respecting the fact that he has a girlfriend. Except then he's like, nah, I'm really into you and you're really hot. I want to date both of you, but I have to get my girlfriend's permission. So, okay. So we go over, and I'm going to preface this with, there are very healthy people who have polyamorous relationships. It is a legitimate lifestyle. This is not one of those, okay? Because he goes to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like, oh my God, she's so cute. And they're like, we got to tell you something. And she's like, you can't tell me until I know her better. And they go on this cute little date or what, triple date or whatever. And okay,
and
that's
at this time, when she starts getting to know the new girl, she actually hints that she might be falling in love with the other girl. She says, oh man, this girl is super cute. I was excited about that. I like her, and she's perfect.
I definitely want both of the girls to leave this asshole and be together. That would be wonderful. That would be a great end. But I know we're not going there, right? Because this is I've only watched one episode, and everything I'm going to tell you comes from that one episode. And that's important because there's a lot of things coming. So at the end of this, they're sitting on a bench. Oh, you like each other. Isn't that great? Well, actually, I want to date both of you. And the girl's like, what?
They even have like a ticking time bomb going off in her head where you hear the beeps of the bomb as she's trying to process the information of what he's saying to her. And then she finally processes it. But she's like, the confusion, it takes over so much that she doesn't have a reaction. So he says it again. And that's when she beats the crap out of him.
No, yeah. She literally punches him in the face. And she's like, no. And she's not unclear. And the consent is not given. It's a hard no. It's a no over and over again. She's like, no. And he's like, but I really love her. And I really like her. And I really want to date her and all this. And it's like, no. And the correct thing at this point for Saki to have done is, well, you can date me or you can date her and I can leave you. And then she should have left him. That's where this whole show should have ended because clearly she was not okay with this situation. She just wasn't.
This is not meant to be a wholesome, like, quality show.
No, and I get that. But this is not presented like ecchi or hentai. This is presented like comedy. And it is presented sort of wholesome, okay? Like, it actually is. And it's frustrating. Because then he's, finally she's like, he agrees to pay her $300 a month and stuff to do this. And she's sort of kind of agrees, but not even.
And cook her food and free rent.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's a pretty decent deal. That's a pretty decent deal.
If you're not consenting, it's not, okay? It's not a decent deal, all right? And she clearly doesn't want this. And she clearly makes it clear she doesn't want this, right? So then he's like, oh, my parents live out of town. Why don't you both come live with me? And the other girl's like, yeah, sure. And then Saki's like, what? And he's like, no, don't worry, I'll tell your mom. And he messages her mom, and there's like an interstitial screen where he's like texting her mom. And her mom is just okay with it. And it doesn't make any sense. And then there's this whole scene where Saki and Nagisa, the other girl, are in the bath. And she's looking at her and she's like, beautiful. And she's like, I can't compete with this. And Nagisa's like, don't worry, you can have sex with him first. And she's like, oh, we've never done that yet. And then she's like, oh, well, you kiss and stuff. And she's like, we haven't done that either. So they're in a new relationship. And that just made it all the more irritating. That this guy has professed his love to you for years and immediately wants someone else. That's insulting. And then won't respect your choices that you don't want to be part of this three-way relationship. I hate him so much.
I mean, yes, what you're saying is correct. What you're saying is correct. But this is meant to be a stupid dumpster fire, right? And so I think if you accept that this is a dumpster fire and that it knows it's a dumpster fire and that it's just trying to play into that, I think it's fine.
I hate him. You know, the only thing that would make this show tolerable.
You're supposed to hate him.
Let me tell you what would make the show tolerable. A school day's end. That would make this show tolerable. Okay.
But we might actually get the girls falling in love with each other.
I would love the girls to fall in love and dump him.
That might happen.
Because what? I will reiterate, there's nothing wrong with people that want to be in a polyamorous relationship. This is not that, because she does not consent to this. And throughout the episode, she is super uncomfortable and getting pushed into things because of that. And I don't like it.
You're looking in the dumpster trying to find quality meat. You're looking in the dumpster trying to find quality meats. This is not the place for that.
Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I will not be watching any more of it. Absolutely not.
I will be watching it. I'm not convinced I'm going to watch it to the end. I'm not convinced I'm going to watch it to the end. But I am going to give it at least until probably episode 3 to see what turn it takes. I'm gonna wait until.
I watched all of Domestic Girlfriend, and it just got real boring. I'm going to be honest. I feel like it just got boring at the end.
So your complaint with Domestic Girlfriend is that it didn't have enough fuel in the fire. You wanted them to destroy their lives even further. But then you're over here, girlfriend is like, no. I want them to have this pure, wholehearted.
No. Girlfriend has a wholly different vibe than Domestic Girlfriend. All right, wholly different. And then Rent a Girlfriend is different than either one of them. But I hated Rent a Girlfriend because I hated his ex-girlfriend.
It's the Trinity.
I hated the main character, and I hated the ex-girlfriend and Rent-A-Girlfriend.
I hate
Maki. Mari, the blonde. The blonde was awesome.
Yeah, I know.
She was
Mommy.
She was.
Her name is Mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody likes
Maki
her.
Maki is the character everybody hates in Chainsaw Man. I can't wait for Chainsaw Man to come out though.
I don't know any information about Chainsaw Man, but I will.
Oh, I love Chainsaw Man. I read the whole manga. All of it that's out. The first arc. It's really good. But yeah, we will join you at a later date where we will be kind of recapping the first part of it.
Mid-season. We're doing one for mid-season, one in final season, or post-season.
Yeah. We will at least do one at mid and final. We may change that depending on what the shows look like and everything. But we'll post on our social media. Follow us on MomoCon across the social media. And yeah, stay tuned for updates about Winterfest and MomoCon 2022. We've got a lot of new cool features and guests coming through in the next couple weeks and stuff. So we'll see you then. Thanks for joining us.
I never have to watch another Spin the Wheel show again. Yes. Yes. Oh, we're done. Good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.